Hello classmates and professor. This is Scott Albert bringing you my PowerPoint presentation for Individual and Society for the class LBSU304 Spring 1 2019 at Brandman University, taught by Professor Daniel Morgan. Next slide, please. Let's discuss the issues. We live in a world full of challenges. In many places, people are experiencing rising unemployment, political violence, poverty, and looming ecological disasters. Most of these problems created by or related to human activity. As individuals living in a free society, we are also free to pursue our private satisfactions independently of others. Yet we are embedded in a broader societal context that includes our family, our communities, and our nation, not to mention that it is common today to speak of an even wider global community. In addition to these challenges, consider how social media, new media technology, and even automation are shaping and changing the world. Next slide, please. In your opinion, what is the role of the individual in helping to solve some of the problems mentioned in the paragraph above? My opinion is simply this. We as a global community should consider returning to the roots of a manner of life that is considered old, yet is still true and viable. I speak of the notion of Ubuntu. This is not regarding Linux, a free operating system. The idea of Ubuntu is simply the notion that if one suffers, we all suffer. If one is fed, we should all be fed. If one is free, we should all be free. Next slide, please. Are we more likely to solve the problems if we embrace a sense of common purpose and public spirit focused on the collective good? I have long embraced the idea that two heads are better than one, or three, or four, or five, etc. Sadly, during the time I have been in college, I have found more times than not where folks had no interest in studying together. It has always struck me as being at the very least inefficient. Working towards a common goal has always made more sense to me. Next slide, please. Should we focus on our private pursuits and a market mentality that says our consumption is what makes the world go round? The notion of private pursuits is nice for some things, but we are facing problems that are on a global scale. Global warming is not a joke. The concern of being dependent on oil, be it foreign or our own, has limitations. In time it will run out. Then what? The insidious nature of terrorism and its effects, be it considered short or long term, have real life consequences. How are we as a global community going to handle those concerns? Next slide, please. Is there a balance between what the individual is responsible for and what our role should be in the public sphere? As with all things, I do feel there is a balance. It goes without saying that for us to function as a society, we need to be conscious of our actions. Not only that, we must be willing to be positively and in some cases legally intervene when needed. An example, working with various level government agencies to pass new laws. A good example is Megan's Law. Next slide, please. If culture is what you do, would society be what we all do? Given everything I've learned in life so far, that seems to be the case. We as an established group of souls tend to operate within the parameters of the things we have agreed upon as individuals who came together for the purpose of making our country as we see fit. Declaration of Independence ring a bell? Next slide, please. How do social media, new media, and automation fit in? Media has been both a blessing and a curse. It has given us the ability to connect and meet with folks from around the globe. On the other hand, one must, from time to time, ask oneself, how accurate is this information? It seems the world of media can be full of falsehoods. As an example, the northern tree octopus. Please visit the site. Next slide, please. How can we as individuals in a global community make a difference? Like anything else, it is a matter of starting with one person and one idea. It does not always happen overnight. Sometimes when it does happen, we really wish it had not, Adolf Hitler. Or we are happy it did, Gandhi. We must all strive towards a better vision of humanity. We are not perfect. but we can always continue to move towards a reasonable version of betterment. I thank you all for the time you took to listen to this presentation. I hope that the information was both helpful and useful. Namaste.